Singapore called Israel out for this Facebook post that the Israeli embassy made in Singapore, I guess. And, they had to eventually take it down. And in the post, they said that Israel is mentioned, 43 times in the Quran, and Palestine is mentioned once, blah, 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 indigenous to the land, blah, 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 1,001 years ago, blah, blah, blah. So we can pull those people alive because, some coins link the land to the Jewish people, blah, blah, blah. I just embellished it a little bit, added some color, but I just wanted to give you the gist of it. And then they took it down, and the Home Minister of Singapore had this to say.
The post is wrong at many levels. First, it is insensitive and inappropriate. We look after the safety of everyone in Singapore, majority and minorities. That includes Muslims, Jews, who are minorities in Singapore. Jews here have very little concern for their safety and security. Posts like these can power inflame tensions and can put the Jewish community here at risk. This is wrong to selectively point to religious texts to make it political. Even worse, in this current situation, for the Israeli embassy to make use of the Quran for this purpose. Third, this post is an astonishing attempt to rewrite history. The writer of the post should look at UN resolutions, see if Israel's actions in the past few decades have been consistent with international law before trying to rewrite history.
So a few things stood out to me from his speech, right? One of them is how he brought to light how Israel is putting Jewish people's lives abroad in danger. Because Zionism is not Judaism, and it is dangerous to make that claim. Zionism is racism, it's a death cult, and many Jewish people do not want to be associated with any of that, rightfully so. And it's absolutely bonkers that Israel is using a religious book as evidence or reference that the land is theirs from 3,000 years ago? I don't even know. Why doesn't it go back to 10,000 years ago, 20,000? Where do we draw the line? Should we just all move back to Africa and claim the land? I mean, using a religious book to justify genocide is beyond sick, and they're doing it with impunity. And the crazy part of this is that if you go back to the 1800s when Zionism was in its infancy, they were talking about using the Bible as a tool to get the Jewish people to migrate to Palestine. Now, this is the land of our ancestors were indigenous to this land, need to migrate over there. And the first Zionists, they knew what they had to do to manipulate. Let me read to you what Elon Poppy has to say about Zionists using the Bible to their benefit. Okay, so in his book, 10 Minutes of Israel, he says, one of the most intriguing uses of the Bible in Zionism is that practiced by the socialists being abused. For the socialists, as one of them said, the Bible provided, quote, the myth for our right over the land, end quote. The myth. It was in the Bible that they read stories about farmers, shepherds, kings, and wars, which they appropriated as describing the ancient golden era of their nation's birth. And returning to the land meant coming back to become farmers, shepherds, and kings. Thus, they found themselves faced with a challenging paradox because they both wanted to secularize Jewish life and to use the Bible as a justification for colonizing Palestine. In other words, though they did not believe in God nonetheless promised them Palestine. For many Zionist leaders, the reference in the Bible to the land of Palestine was just a means to their ends, and not the essence of Zionism. And this was clear, in particular, in texts written by Theodore Herzl himself. And this is where Christian Zionists come into the picture, because of course they had to push through this movement of Zionism, because it benefited them, even though it was very anti-Semitic of them to do what they did, right? Because they believed that, well, with the second coming of Jesus, she would be resurrected from the dead. The return of the Jews was a precursor to all of that, right? So the Jews had to go to the Holy Land in order for Jesus to come back. Okay, so that was kind of like the whole thing with the Christian Zionists in Britain and Europe. And also, they wanted to get rid of the Jews, right? So win-win. Get rid of the Jews, send them to Israel, send them to the Holy Land. Jesus is going to return, double whammy. So from that standpoint, we understand the goal of the Christian Zionists. And so it says here from that moment onwards, the Bible became both the justification and the map for the colonization of Palestine. Plain and simple. This is the last part I want to share with you. So however, leading Zionists knew that appealing to the authority of the Bible would not be enough. Colonizing the already inhabited Palestine would require a systematic policy of settlement, dispossession, and even ethnic cleansing. To this end, portraying the disposition of Palestine as the fulfillment of a divine Christian scheme was priceless when it came to galvanizing global Christian support behind Zionism. And so I find that they keep using these types of examples to make ridiculous points and justify the expulsion of millions of people and the settlement of millions of other people onto that land. And so I'm glad that Singapore called them out on it, because it is absolutely batshit crazy that they would even make a statement like that as if it actually matters in the context of what's happening. And oh my God, the talking point that these Zionists have, they're so infuriating. They're not based on logic, on reality, on common sense. It's just with one objective in mind, and such a cruel one at that. And I'm so happy to see that they're being called out for it. We need way more of this to shame them into